So I found this article so funny. I don't know. We about to get into it though because Trump acting out right now. So it says Donald Trump crashes wedding at Mar-a-Lago, tells guests you're going to get me into heaven. Like, is he being for real? Is he being for real, or is he like kind of just um like if he being for real? Is he being for real, or is he trying to just make a scene, just to get some type of attention, or do he actually feel as though he's going to hell and it takes to crash a wedding to say you're going to get me into heaven? Because when you at a wedding, you're making vows, and then they're blessing themselves into heaven. He's blessing this wedding because as this wedding is going on, the Lord is approving. It comes to the Lord's approval. So he just had to throw in his statement like, oh yeah, you're going to get me into heaven. So it says Donald Trump crashed couple's wedding. During the event, Trump told a group of people that guests Eric, a consecutive author and host as Socrates in the city, was going to get him into heaven. The exchange was captured in a video shared on social media. Donald Trump made a surprise appearance at a couple's wedding at his Mar-a-Lago resort, where he singled out one of the guests as the guy who's going to get me into heaven. What guest is this? Like, what? On Friday, November 14th, the president made an appearance at the private wedding celebration of investment banker and Stormwall founder Mike Wilkerson. A video posted on Instagram by conservative radio host and author Eric Metaxas shows Trump greeting and congratulating the newlyweds. Then Trump noticed Metaxas 62 in the ballroom and reached out to shake his hand before telling the bride and groom, he's going to get me into heaven. Like, this can mean so many things, like going through, trying to, think of it as, kind of rational and irrational at the same time. You know, um, when it comes down to it, genetically, we're gonna go deep with this a little bit, try to get a little deep with it, is that, how genetically, we are who we are. We came, our ancestors plays a huge role in our lives today. So he can be like, you're going to get me into heaven, basically saying that you're going to do right by this wedding, and you're going to do right by this woman, and you're going to clear my karma. You're going to clear my karma. This is something that he could be saying. But everybody has a reason, and everybody has a reason behind what they do, intentionally. Maybe he truly feels that way. Unintentionally, maybe he's just crashing a wedding. And maybe this could be his message. He has a message to deliver, and his message is, you're going to get me into heaven. Because at the rate that we're in, you know, um, God is calling for judgment. And if anybody's going to judge me better than me, I'm gonna go to someone, and this is kind of breaking, what is it? Traditional curses, curses in your family, bloodline curses, because it's just like, instead of depending on his family to get him into heaven, he's depending on, your race. Going by your race, you're going to get into heaven. Period. Make this correction. Let your actions define my life going forward spiritually with God. Let my judgment fall onto you. Just as God circumcises his children, you have to be circumcised. So maybe Trump is handing over this type of, circumcision to someone else, according to race. So Meta Texas could be heard replying, I want to talk to him about getting into heaven, but not here. Not here. Obviously, there's a time and a place for everything. He added, I laughed and told him, I'd really like to talk to you about that, but another time. That's the thing, Trump. Are you being serious? Because obviously this person is taking him serious. Meta Texas told people that he has met Trump on several occasions, and every single time he tells me that he watches my show all the time, referring to his Secrets in the City radio show, which explores the big question, life, God, and other small topics. Other small topics. See, God should be a big topic. They, belittling God right now, according to me, show's website. I've teased him about it, but he insists Meditations continue. So I assume he's aware of my Christian faith. Trump, you coming at a person that doesn't take this, lightly. So are you really being serious? And has heard me talk about it a fair amount on the show, which was what prompted him to say I could conceivably play some role in bringing him to a deeper faith. Okay, heads turns, eyes open, ears listening. What? Trump wants to get into a deeper faith. Who better would make like, see, he kind of making me like, hold up, I'm turning my head, I'm listening. Who, like, that kind of got me like, what? Okay, so I never took this into consideration until now. If the president wanted to go a little deeper in his faith, who would want a president with faith? Nine times out of 10, everybody. But what is it though? What is it? You want to jump deeper into faith because of you and you want a relationship with God? Or is it because you see everybody else is turning that way and he's trying to he could be trying to correct his wrongs. Like, okay, so I got everybody against me because of what happened. I took away their food stamps. I played with them a little bit. I played in their faith. I played in their faith, and I'm just trying to make my wrongs right. He could be doing this to a point where I'm going to start, following the people for once. The leader that follows the people. What? 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 Like, come on now. Come on now. A leader starting to follow the people, and this can go down to where, he is he's changing. I mean, that's change right there. You know, you listening, you watching. Because in order for you to know that a lot of people is turning to God, you have to be watching. So it's like obviously you're paying attention and you're trying to get on the same level. You know, are you trying to, and no matter what his reason is, like I said, it can go down to so many different reasons because, like I said, you got on the bad side of a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of people against you. You know, you kind of afraid that you about to lose your presidency the next time of election because of what you did, and now you know your true colors shown. A lot of people seeing what's been um what they paid no attention to before. A lot of people are seeing what a lot of people already noticed, but it's he's being brought to the light to where you know now I gotta turn. Oh, I gotta do something to get y'all forgiveness. And maybe this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to gain forgiveness because he crashed a wedding talking about he wants deeper faith. I'm not playing. Obviously, you have no consideration for this wedding though because you made it about you. But at the same time, now I'm questioning. You this can what? But I would love a president. That kind of that has faith. Because if you listen to God as a president, where would you go wrong? But at the same time, is you trying to use it as a weapon against us? Are you trying to deceive us? Are you trying to manipulate us? Are you trying to mislead God's children by trying to jump in and have, a relationship with God for your reasons and intentions? Obviously, God knows, so it wouldn't be a relationship with God. It would be a relationship with the devil, or according to your intentions. But if your intentions are good, you're actually trying to, this is going to be so interesting, and this is actually going to allow a lot of people to see him in a different light. We seen your childish ways because he was real childish. Like I said, he was like a child on a freaking pedestal. He was a child and he playing around with people's lives. But now this type of turn this is different. This makes me, question. This gonna have a lot of people like, what? What? But at the same time, they can look at you and they can be like, okay. But it's another thing because now a lot of people's gonna question you. They're gonna judge you because of this. They're gonna be like, hold up, what you doing it for? Like, hmm. So yeah, this was it. This is interesting. This is real interesting. Um, Trump has been vocal about his wish to be heaven bound. Back in August, he said during a phone interview with Facts and Friends that one of his motivations for brokering a peace deal, that sounds satanic right there, between Russia and Ukraine is so he can get into heaven. So he feel like these moves is gonna get to him. The only person that's gonna get you into heaven is you. But I don't know his position. And a lot of people believe that they have to. And this could be at the same time reaching down. Like you got to reach down because you're so high up. In other words, so high down, deep, 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 deep in the ground that you have to reach up one way or another. So when you so deep in the ground, you tugging on some type of root. If you get my drift, if you can just follow along with me, you tugging on some type of root down there because you're trying to crawl your way back up, kind of like Satan. You're trying to crawl your way up, and you finally reach like the ground. So you got to pull yourself up. You tugging on that tree root. The tree root. Like I'm trying to use a metaphor and to basically explain what I was talking about before of breaking traditional curses, going beyond going beyond your bloodline, but to racial races. You're white, I'm white, boom, I'm gonna reach out to you. So he's tugging on that tree root to get him up, to where he can have a better judgment in God's eyes because you're getting close to that point. At the same time, personally, it's like I say, it can be personal because you're getting close to that point where your life is on the line, as well as like in sort of, so to say, basically, your where you end up in the end, heaven or hell. This is you making a joke about it, or are you being serious? And if you're being serious, we kind of know what direction this shows. This is showing a lot about his character, a lot about his personality. So to actually do this or pull this stuff, regardless of what it is, it shows some type of interest. He's revealing to you some piece of his mind. Some piece of his mind is kind of like exposing. Where on a person, no president actually, exposes himself personally. It's all about business, but this is like kind of like tables turning. Like what do y'all? I find this very interesting. This is really interesting. So if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's pretty. I want to try to get to heaven if possible. He said at the same time, I feel like he getting his hopes up a little high there because you talking about saving people, but you the one that actually needs saved. But and vice versa, 7,000 people can be saving your life. If you really want to be honest about it. But if that's your intention, that shows a lot about you as well. I'm hearing that I'm not doing well. I am really at the bottom of the totem pole. He added, prompting laughter from the Fox News host. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. During her briefing later that same day, White House press secretary Caroline Levitt clarified that she believes Trump's comments were serious rather than joking. I think the president wants to get into heaven, as I hope we all do in this room as well, she said. Trump again referenced his quest for eternal salvation while speaking to the press abroad Air Force One on October 12th. When asked about his August comments regarding his attempts to broker in Russia, Ukraine peace deal, he said, "I'm being a little cute." He then quips, I don't think there's anything going to get me into heaven. I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly on Air Force One. Never miss. Okay, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, he added, but I've made life a lot better for a lot of people. Over the summer, Trump even appeared to be fundraising to get to heaven. His campaign sent out emails asking for donations that read, I want to try to get to heaven. The emails, which reportedly began on August 23rd, requesting supporters to donate $15 during a 24-hour Trump fundraising blitz to the president. Funding, I want to get into heaven. That part. Um, Yeah, it's a lot of okay, so let's see other people's point of view on this. What is taco obsession with getting into heaven? Esther saying, could it be a guilty conscience? Boom. Do good to others, have a pure heart, feed the poor and the widows, and uplift others. Okay, so like I said, a lot of people will question this, but at the same time, it just shows you Trump is open. Trump is open, and he is whether regardless of what he's very I don't know. He's open minded, obviously. He's coming down to the people, you know, a certain way, and he is aware. That's what I'm looking for. He has awareness. He has some type of awareness, and regardless, like I said, of his intentions, God will judge him on that. God knows. If you doing it as a joker, God knows. God knows his intentions regardless. Period. Before he even start, God knows. So whatever he's doing it for, God knows. What who don't know though is the people. So that's all it comes down to is the people, regardless. But in the end, God knows, nothing to be worried about. Um, but at the same time, you know, this is something that kind of got me, paying attention. Now, hold up. I knew you was kind of just off a little bit, but now it's like, hold up. Okay, I'm listening. So this is interesting, y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all think. So yeah, I'll talk to y'all next time. Like, comment, subscribe, be notified, share at your own free will to show you care. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.